And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, dear listeners. This is Toby Usnik from the Kering Economy. I'm thrilled today to have my former colleague and friend, Marie-Claire Daveu, who is the Chief Sustainability Officer at Kering, the international luxury conglomerate, Kering, for those of you not familiar with the brand. And she's also the International Head of Institutional Affairs for Kering. Kering, for those of you who don't know, is the $16 billion luxury conglomerate based out of Paris, traded on the Euronext under the call letters KER. This 57-year-old company is made up of a stable of stellar brands that you all will know, from Gucci to Yves Saint Laurent to Boucheron, Balenciaga, McQueen, Brioni, Thomas Meyer, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor, a great privilege to have my friend Marie-Claire Daveu from Kering. Welcome, Marie-Claire.
Hello, Toby.
Ladies and gentlemen, I should also fully disclose that when Marie-Claire and I first got to know each other, it was during my tenure at Christie's, the world's leading art business. Christie's is owned by the Pinault family out of Paris. The Pinault family also have controlling interest of Kering. So we were colleagues through those Christie's Kering days and remained friends and collaborators ever since, particularly around corporate social responsibility and CSR. So with that full disclosure of our friendship and relationship, I wanted to just welcome Marie-Claire again and ask her to give us a brief overview of both her professional journey and some of the pivots that she made along the way, from education, a career in government, private sector, and so forth. So Marie-Claire, tell us a little bit about you and your career journey, please.
Thank you, Toby. So to start, when I was a little kid, I had a passion about nature and wildlife. Mm-hmm. As I became older, I became involved in CSR, sustainability, first by volunteering for various NGOs and charities, and then by focusing on science and biology in university. I am a graduate of the French National Institute of Agronomie Paris-Grignon and also l'École nationale du génie rural des eaux et des forêts. And then I also graduated in public administration from Dauphine University in Paris. My professional life has been and is still aligned with the permanent organic development of my personal interest. I have been working in sustainability in both the public and private sector for 20 years, and it keeps me fully committed and passionate. I joined Kering from the public sector after serving as Nathalie Kosciusko-Morizet, Chief of Staff, who has been mainly Ministry of Ecology. Before this position, I have been technical advisor for ecology to Prime Minister Jean-Pierre Raffarin between 2005 and 2007. I joined Sanofi Aventis Group, pharmaceutical company, as head of sustainable development. Since 2012, as you mentioned, I am Kering Chief Sustainability Officer and Head of International Institutional Affairs, as well as member of the Group Executive Committee. Mm-hmm. I am in charge of the continued development of Kering's sustainability strategy and of its implementation on a global scale. And I can tell you that it's an amazing work and job to do every day.
That's fantastic. And you get to work with great leaders like François-Henri Pinault, who really sets a tone from the top down.
Yes, I'm very lucky because when we speak about sustainability, you know how much it's important to have the top management really involved in the journey, because without having François-Henri Pinault and his family so much involved, because we are a family listed company, mm-hmm. I won't be able to do all the things we try to manage on a daily basis inside the Kering Group.
Mm-hmm. That was my experience working with François Pinault, the father of François-Henri Pinault, who is not only a big art collector and involved with the Christie's business, but when we were launching the Green Auction, a 3-year commitment to support 4 environmental groups around sustainability, he was very supportive. And then his son, also François-Henri Pinault, and his wife, Salma Hayek, both attended the auction and gave us a great spiritual support, which I'll be forever grateful for. So I, like you, have seen them demonstrate their leadership throughout for this. It's not something they treat lightly.
Yes, and the family and François-Henri Pinault, they were quite visionary when we are speaking about sustainability, because they put sustainability many years ago at the heart of the strategy, when no one, I speak in France, was speaking about sustainability. So I think it's also important to underline this fact, because they were very, very in advance in comparison with other companies and other leaders.
Absolutely. We'll talk a little bit later about the, the implementation and how you measure and report on and encourage others to participate in sustainability. But before we do that, Marie-Claire Daveu, again, ladies and gentlemen, we have today's guest, Marie-Claire Daveu, who is the Chief Sustainability Officer at the European luxury conglomerate Kering, K-E-R-I-N-G, the $19 billion stable of brands that include Gucci, Yves Saint Laurent, Boucheron, Balenciaga, McQueen, and Brioni, and so many more. Marie-Claire, tell us a little bit, please, about sustainability or CSR at Kering. How does it look? How does it play out? And where is it headed?
So sustainability for me personally is grounded on recognizing that business companies have played a significant role in creating the planetary environmental situation we are facing. But at the same time, they must and can play also a major role in changing the course. For Kering, as we mentioned a few minutes ago, sustainability is a long-term commitment coming from our chairman and CEO, François-Henri Pinault, who tackles this issue as an ethic and business necessity, and also as a duty in the very core of Kering's strategy. Our aim is to offer exceptional products to our clients with the highest standards of quality, including, of course, sustainability. So it means we pay attention to people and to the planet. At Kering, sustainability encompasses three aspects. Mm-hmm. Environment, everything you put in place to reduce your impact on the planet. Social, everything you do to take care of your stakeholders, from the employees working in the group up to the different levels of suppliers and partners outside of the group. Mm-hmm. Sustainable innovation, all our actions to find and use new and sustainable materials, new processes that contribute to transform our business model and reach our targets. And on top of that, as an umbrella, of course, we have ethics. We could also add the philanthropic pillar of our strategy, which is about the Kering Foundation. You know well the Kering Foundation, Toby, mm-hmm. who combats violence against women. In the luxury sector, we are in the unique position where we influence and set the trends and aspirations in fashion. This can help drive and inspire change to finally reach a tipping point where sustainability is embedded in the way we all make and sell our products. Mm-hmm. That's why it is key that all the luxury brands embrace the topic. For us, we like to say that sustainability is not an option, it's a necessity, and we can say that it's a duty.
Marie-Claire, could you please share a couple of examples of late where sustainability is being practiced at the brand level at Kering?
Of course, Toby. I will share with you two very recent concrete examples in our brands. First, Gucci launched what we call the Off the Grid collection that use recycled, organic, bio-based, and sustainably sourced materials, including ECONYL, which is a regenerated nylon. Another example with Balenciaga. Balenciaga launched a pre-collection, summer 21st, where 93.5% of the plant materials in this collection are either certified sustainable or upcycled.
Fantastic.
100% of the print-based have sustainable certification. So I think it's really two recent great examples to show that we have a 360 approach from the raw materials until the end of life of the products with the upcycling examples.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Marie-Claire. Yes, I love that you're, in the truest spirit of transparency, you're offering up that question before I even ask it, because I think that that's another proof of concept that Kering really is practicing sustainability in the best class way, because you're very transparent. You're measuring, monitoring, reporting on your KPIs, your key performance indicators. And at the same time, what I've observed that I really value is that you're sharing your system, if you will, your measurement system with your peers and welcoming them to use the same, so that you're not only focusing on your own house, so to speak, but then you're, in a sense, inviting or challenging your peers and others to do the same. So bravo to you. Can you talk a little bit about those KPIs and how you, maybe it's measure and monitor, but also how you reconcile it with performance reviews or the individual manager level?
So very quickly about it, in our strategy, we have identified 3 pillars, one on the environmental side, one on the social side, and the third is about innovation. And through the environmental side, we have decided to reduce by 40% our environmental footprint based on our EPNL tool. Mm-hmm. And to reduce by 50% our greenhouse gas emissions. So to do that, it means we have to be able to put in place the full traceability of our raw materials and also our processes. So it's a long journey, and we are implementing step by step. Mm-hmm. We have also commitments linked with the social side about gender parity, because we think also that it's a very important topic on social side, but also in our supply chain, we want to do regular audits to be sure that what we write inside the contract on social side and environmental side are really implemented on the ground in our supply chain. And the last pillar, it's about innovation, because we know that if we want to reach our target linked with the 40%, we will be able to reduce 20%, putting at scale all our best practices, for example, organic cotton, a kind of cashmere which is coming from Mongolia, and everything we are doing. But we need also to find disruptive innovation. That's why we are working with many startups, over 110 startups in the current situation, from how can I do laser in lab, how can I do a mushroom to do bags, luggage, everything you want. How can I do eco-dyeing with a microorganism? So we try to have a 360 approach.
Fantastic. And we'll come back to some of those experimentations when we talk about collaborations and innovation in a bit. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are honored today to have Marie-Claire Daveu, who is the Chief Sustainability Officer at the luxury conglomerate Kering, K-E-R-I-N-G, the brand that's been around for 57 years and holds such a stable of products as Gucci, Yves Saint Laurent, Boucheron, Balenciaga, McQueen, Brioni, and so forth. This $19 billion company is one that you know, even if you haven't heard of it by name, you certainly have purchased or worked with its products. So it's an honor to have Marie-Claire here. Marie-Claire, tell us a little bit about during your career, your observations, both from private sector, or public sector rather, to private sector. What are you seeing in our quote unquote space of corporate social responsibility or sustainability, the sort of trends that you've noticed, both encouraging as well as discouraging over the, say, past 15, 20 years?
So over the last years, there has been a real shift in the industry. And I would like to say that brands have become more conscious and concerned about their environmental and social impacts. In parallel, consumers, NGOs, and investors have been demanding transparency. 10, 15 years ago, people working in sustainability in public or private companies were seen like outsiders, or at least like people who were passionate about a cause, but disconnected with business.
Absolutely. Yep.
I was in this case. Okay?
Fringe, we would say, fringe, the fringe.
What is encouraging today, and since the past 2 or 4 years, sustainability is at the core of every conversation. Not a conference, not a webinar, not a TV show where we don't speak about climate crisis, biodiversity. Today, sustainability space is much bigger than before. There are no frontiers anymore, and we have understood that sustainability is very much linked to business, to risk anticipation, and the only answer to our century's biggest challenges. When I say biggest challenges, for me, it's of course climate change, loss of biodiversity, resources scarcity.
Yes.
I am glad to, yes, Toby?
No, I'm agreeing with you. I think of it like a muscle, CSR or sustainability, where we exercise it. The more we exercise it, the stronger we get. It's not a point of arrival. It's a continual self-improvement, if you will, for a brand.
I am glad to see and like this major change. I am glad to see that more and more young students want to hold a sustainability position and that good qualification exists today in that field, which require real skill and technicity. Another encouraging signal is that now the fashion sphere is also interested in the topic. Fashion media are writing about it. Speaking about climate change has become the issue of everyone as a citizen. So we can say that we have, again, a 360 approach where consumers, employees, students, so universities, but also asset manager and all the financial community are really interested in this topic, in this challenge, in this issue.
You know, Marie-Claire, I want to give a shout out today to Joe Ellison, who edits the How to Spend It magazine within the Financial Times. I don't know if you had a chance to read this weekend because you're so busy, but this is an issue basically focused on sustainability, and it was just so smart and so well done. For our listeners, I think it would be a fun one to check out as well. You're absolutely right. This has become so mainstream. But it requires our staying focused on it and helping to lead, not assume that everyone's going to step into it and follow it honorably, because it's it can be a very crowded space, I think, right now, as well as being on trend.
But if you give me a few seconds also
Sure.
to see on the other side, because I was on the first side quite optimistic. So on the other side, what is discouraging, but I don't like this word, because I think that if you want to push the boundary and to change the world, you have to continue to be optimistic. So
Yes.
I would take a kind of average, saying that on the other side, what is realistic is to share with you the fact that we have now 10 years to reverse the curve of climate and biodiversity. Today, everyone is aware and no one is challenging this, because it's becoming from the GIEC, from the IPBES. So it's very important to know that people are very serious when they share this kind of figures and data. 10 years for me, it's tomorrow, and we are not moving fast enough. So I think that people are very conscious. They have made the clear diagnosis, but now they have to move fast and to move at the right level.
Yep.
So companies should collaborate more. Customers should ask more from the brands. And we don't have all the innovations and new solutions yet. So take the example of greener processes or alternative materials. all the solutions don't work or are difficult to put at scale.
Mm-hmm.
So we will need more time. This can be discouraging, while we have to stay optimistic if we want to succeed. And above all, we have to engage all the people at all the levels inside the company, and also to have more and more cross-fertilization between the public sector and between the private sector, really to tackle the issues we mentioned previously.
Mm-hmm. This is a perfect segue, Marie-Claire, to my final question for you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we have today Marie-Claire Daveu, who is the Chief Sustainability Officer at the $19 billion luxury conglomerate Kering. Marie-Claire, collaborations and innovation, this is exactly what you're alluding to there between private, public sector. Can you share perhaps some thoughts on the dimensions of that with our audience?
Yes, of course. When we speak about sustainability, we have this strong conviction that challenges are so huge that we can't do this alone, even for a group like Kering. Mm-hmm. We are also convinced that we can be much more efficient, powerful, and faster if we develop collective action. This is why every time we can, we are partnering with the right association, company, NGO to work together on a specific topic. With IPBS on biodiversity, I mentioned previously, mm-hmm. with Savory Institute on regenerative agriculture, with universities and schools to train the young generation, or with Plug and Play on sustainable innovation. I can continue to mention many stakeholders, but it's really to share with you that we can do that in many fields. And mm-hmm. We believe that there is no competition in sustainability, and we have to share best practices. So that's why we open source all our best practices. Mm-hmm. One concrete example inside Kering is our EPNL, our environmental profit and loss account. We start to work on this pioneering tool nearly 10 years ago. And when we have published our first group consolidated EPNL in 2015, we right away share our results and our methodology on our website, because we wanted every company to be able to develop its own EPNL, because it's really can help to transform all the sectors. And I'm very happy to share with you that nearly today, around 200 companies all over the world are using this methodology.
Bravo.
Above Kering, another great example, I'm sure you know it, is the Fashion Pact. The Fashion Pact was created last year for the G7 when President Macron was the president of the G7. Behind this coalition, what was the idea? It is to bring together the fashion players to work on common goals around climate, biodiversity, and ocean. Why? Because when you join forces of Chanel, Hermès, H&M, Inditex, but also Chinese group like Rouyi, or the US group like PVH or Nike, you can really make a difference in the end. Another key driver for success in CSR for me is innovation, as I told you. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we invest a lot in startup. And we start many years ago, because in 2013, for example, we invest in a startup called Worn Again. It's a kind of holy grail where the startup is able to separate the fibers of cellulose and polyester and to do new fibers. So it's really a great example to illustrate what we call circular economy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do new things with old things, and with reducing your impacts on energy consumption, water consumption, and everything. So that's why I think innovation, it's really important if you want really to implement sustainability strategy.
Absolutely. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is proof in the pudding of the collaboration and the innovation approach that Kering has taken for decades now. Marie-Claire Daveu, the Chief Sustainability Officer at Kering, the $19 billion luxury conglomerate out of Paris. Marie-Claire, thank you so much for joining us today. I'll let you have the last word. What would you like our listeners to take away?
The only thing is to say that sustainability is the responsibility of everyone, everywhere you are. So I count on you to change the world and to change the paradigm. Thank you, Toby.
Brava. Thank you so much.